Hey Sainers, welcome back to Saints TV Weekly for another week, August 19th. Thanks to Inglewood Coffee Roasters for being the sponsor of this video. As always, check out their website, use the discount code for 40% off coffee, tea and chai products. Saturday night was a ball. We all know it was a ball. We turned a 33-point deficit into an 18-point win. And it was some of the best football I think we can all agree we've seen in a very long time from this football club. 83 points were kicked in the second half. We were goalless in the first half and still kicked 107 points. When the hell was the last time that happened? It came from nowhere. Halftime, Ross Lyon, he worked his magic. The coaches, the players, they all did their job. The fans in the stands, they did their job. So good on everyone for turning out. We're going to need that again on Sunday for sure. But to the game, my review's out. I spoke to Hunter Clark. He had a lot of fun in this game. He said it himself. He doesn't think he's played in a game where things have clicked that well and, that momentum was that strong. And I think from the stands, you could feel it. It just felt like Geelong were, they just had no ability to stop what we were doing. It just was all one-way traffic as much as I've seen, at any point. And that's probably how we were on the receiving end against Brisbane about 3 weeks ago, when you just can't stop a team that's red hot. And we were red hot in that second half, and God, it was good to watch. So if you haven't watched the replay already, what are you doing, honestly? Get to the replay as soon as you can. But it was a great win, and it sets us up nicely now to take on Carlton on Sunday in a very important game for them and our final game of the season, obviously. Switching to VFL, we also played the Cats in the VFL, Sandy, and unfortunately we didn't get the chocolates. It was a pretty close game in the end, 13 points, 59-72. The standout in this game was Ari. Kicked a long bomb from about 65 on the run, which everyone's posted online, so that was great. He had his 29 disposals. Garcia did play 15 minutes in the seniors in the AFL against the Cats, and he was, run-down tackle, the laser-like pass to Higgins. He did so much in such little time. But he also played in the VFL. He was a late in. He had his 20 disposals and 10 tackles. I think that, not game high, surprisingly, not game high. But I don't know if he was on adjusted minutes because he played a little bit of the AFL. But good to see him still perform in the VFL. And hopefully that means he can get a full game against the Blues in the seniors this week. Tom Campbell, 26 disposals, 46 hitouts. Riley Bonner, 29 disposals. Angus Hasty, 21 disposals. Max Hall, 18 and 2 goals. So he's really building. I've heard some good things about his game on the weekend. McLennan, 20, which is solid. Cordy, 16. Ben Patton, 19. Matty Allison, what has he done? 1 goal, 11 disposals. Max Heath, only the 7 disposals and 11 hitouts. A quiet day for Heathy there. Ollie Houghton, 18 disposals, which is all right. Isaac Killer, 7. Quiet. We might get a couple of these boys in for the final game. We don't know. Just depends on the approach, I suppose, that Ross wants to go with, because we've got, I think Caminiti was a bit sore, and Brad Hill as well, which kind of reminds me, injuries. Let's double check these. Max Heath test, obviously he played it. Mateus Filippo is probably the big one to come in. Seb Ross, not looking likely. Brad Crouch, not looking likely at all. So hopefully it's not the last time we've seen them, but you never know, based on what I've heard. Liam Henry, season king. Van Ayers, Winhager, all season. So that's the way that cookie crumbles, but we'll definitely still feel the team that's absolutely capable of putting on a show on Sunday. To the AFLW, and the girls played their final pracky game of the season. They went out west, took on West Coast, and they got the chocolates. Wardlaw kicked 4. It was a really strong 32-point win, 23-55. They kick off their season in about 2 weeks' time, or just under 2 weeks' time, actually, August 31st. And they face the Gold Coast away. So unfortunately not at RSCA, but we do have plenty of games that everyone should get to when they play at RSCA. It's always good. The weather starts to improve. You have a drink on the hill, and you cheer on the girls. So they're building nicely. The list is looking good. All of our star players are performing. Minimal injuries. We've had years where we've had a lot of players out, but it's good to see the midfield in particular. We've got all our star players in there, and they got a commanding win, which is great to see. We also broke our membership record for the season, which is awesome, for the 5th consecutive year, so congratulations to the club. And obviously for the fans getting on board every single year. That's up, I think, 5,000 from last season, which is great. Representing 34 countries, over 3,000 AFLW members, 1,252 members attending every home and away game to date. 2024 saw an unrivaled passion for the club. That's amazing. That's in the statement they released last week. So yeah, next year we want to be bigger and better. We're building nicely. I mean, if you had any question marks on whether Ross was the man, and we've got the youth and we've got the list that can do some damage, just look at our game against Sydney, our game against Essendon, Geelong. We beat Collingwood. We're beating some good teams this season, and I'm pretty bullish about next year as well. So get on board. To the tipping. One more round to go. And the leader is still Creature of Routine, 133. And the next best is 130. So they need to gain 3 in 1. That's going to be tough. Creature of Habit, he just got to tip the favourites, and I doubt he doesn't get the chocolates at the end of the day. He or she's been leading for, I don't know, as much as I've been looking. So they've been top for a long time. So good on them. And now, round 24. We won't talk about it too much because there's going to be plenty of coverage during the week. But it's Carlton. And they pretty much need to win. They need to win this. Otherwise, there's a chance if Fremantle beat Port at home, especially if they know they need to, then Freo will take Carlton's spot in the 8 if we beat Carlton. So Carlton know that they basically need to just, the destiny's in their own hands. They just need to get the win. And that just means job's done for them, and they play in the finals. So for us, it's our last game. I've loved our approach going into the last month of the season, barring the Brisbane game. But we've been really professional, and every game's had something riding on it for us. We're not here to just make up the numbers, and that's clear to see in the way we've approached a lot of these games. So get to the game. It's a Carlton home game, so it's going to be predominantly Carlton fans. It's going to be a big crowd, probably a sellout to be honest, considering what's riding on it. But no better way to end the season than to potentially knock off a team, vying for top 8. And they still might make the 8. If Freo lose anyway, it doesn't matter if they lose. But it's just good to have, that sort of intensity going into the final game of the season where, in years gone by, it's probably a bit of a dead rubber and you're just like, let's get through it and move on to the trade season. So, big game. Get to it, Saners. There's not much else to report. Trade news, Josh Battle, that's still up in the air, although I'm pretty much thinking he's gone, to be honest. I know Seb Ross, Brad Crouch, that's all been talked about. Interest in Dylan Shield, I'll keep an eye on that. And obviously James Peatling, I think, is another one from the Giants. So that'll all be over the next couple of weeks post-season. But that's the news for the week, Saners. So thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week. And as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.